Hello everyone, hello Malgadistas. This week we're gonna just review the first week and the games. Um, it wasn't an extraordinary first week. We had some interesting matches, like Argentina game that was surprising, and Germany Japan that was a really cool game. Spain uh, probably had one of the most dominant games in my recent recollection. Um, so yeah, we had some good games, but others have been kind of lackluster. If you've seen today's game, Portugal against Ghana, only in the second half it started to be like a real game, and a lot of games end in 0-0 or 1-0, 1-1. So it's not as exciting, but that second half today was probably the most fun I've had this World Cup. What do you say, Farouk?
It's been a really good week of football, and we're looking forward to much more. Yeah, starting with the Serbians are like really 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 physical, and also, to be honest, not just physical but also very they have a lot of quality as well. They're very technical players, to be honest. So let's see, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I basically share the same sentiment. T- Today we have probably, in my opinion, the most exciting game. It's a first game for Brazil. I think we're all excited for that game, especially because of our players, of course. I hope some of them get to start. My guess is that Vinicius will start, but we'll see about Rodrigo and Militao.
Actually, the
Um,
lineup, if you want, I can just read them out to you.
it already came out, yeah.
The
But,
lineup. Vinicius started. It's Vinicius and Richarlison and Rafinha with Neymar on top. And we have Lucas Paqueta and Casemiro in the middle of the park. And then we have Alisson, Alexandro, Thiago Silva, Marquinhos, and Danilo for the defense.
yeah, alright. Well, many people mentioned that Militao probably won't start, that he's a young player, and that there are many, older players that are more deserving of the spot, I guess. But they're probably the most promising team in this World Cup. I'm rooting for them instead of Argentina as everyone else is. But yeah, other games, at least for today, Uruguay played. Valverde had some chances. He had a great shot that actually
Lucas.
two crossbars, which was is unfortunate for him. We all want him to score that squeeber, and he was actually close like three times, I guess. But yeah, all in all, it wasn't uh, a too exciting game. Both teams were playing too too safe, I guess, and it took the excitement out of it, I guess. South Korea was actually really good today. Maybe not in attacking, but I think both teams weren't really any. They don't really have any threats, I guess. Darwin Nunez was all right, but I think he would be disappointed with the way he played. I was actually surprised Suarez stayed on for so long. He didn't have a good game, but I understand like he's a veteran. He deserves to be there. But yeah, I think we all expected a more exciting start to this World Cup. But it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You said, as you said, it's exciting start to the World Cup. Honestly, like filled with upsets, and we're seeing some trends where we're getting to see what some teams will look like. So I'd say let's just it will be nice if we could go day by day with the games and just we could review those games and see what the game were looking like and what our expectations were. So I think it's only logical to start with the opening game. Like with Qatar against Ecuador. It was 2-0 with 2 goals from Ener Valencia. Actually, at the beginning, I said like maybe Costa Rica were the worst team at the World Cup. I think Qatar might even be worse than they are because to be honest, like I mean, it's Ecuador, and I know everyone who is from CONMEBOL always like these guys are just known for the defending. It's very difficult for them to score and what is not. Even when we were previewing the World Cup, we also had the same sentiments. But I mean, they could have scored 4, 5, 6 in that game against Qatar, and Qatar did not look like. I mean, it was a shame because to be honest, like I think they're the first hosts to lose the opening match because as we talked about before, like we've seen games, even going back to 2010 with South Africa as well, which were, like also not very, how would I say, like we're not household names, in world football as well. But they fought out they fought out this, strived and fought or had fought 1-1 draw with Mexico in the opening game in 2010. But for Qatar, it was a really, really, really shambolic performance. I don't know, were you able to watch the game against Ecuador against Qatar?
Only bits and pieces. I didn't get to see the opening ceremony, probably for the first time in my life. But yeah, from the ceremony, I didn't really hear that it was anything special. Some people had some problems with it, but you know, opinion an opinion is an opinion. You're allowed to have it. Um, but yeah, the first game, I think we all knew what was gonna happen. No one expected Qatar to win unless there was some crazy reason why that would happen.
Actually,
And
the point is like actually, I'm not expecting Qatar to win or anything, but the point is, they've had their coach, the Catalan guy, for about 8 to 10 years right now. He's coached these guys through the youth system, like a lot of these players. And the funny thing, throughout this year, these guys haven't played even in the league. They've been together, training together, just so that they're like to build up to this World Cup. Imagine imagine a team like England or Brazil, having the whole 10 months of the year just training together, perfecting this automation systems and
yeah,
all that. You would expect something, but like they were so dysfunctional. Even the goalkeeper for the first half. I mean, first half hour the goalkeeper was a bit shaky, and later on, he got into his game as well. But it was really, really, like for these guys were AFC champions. The goalkeeper won the Golden Glove at the Asian Championships. Like they have strikers who have golden boots who have been named players of the year in the continent. So it was a really, really shambolic performance, honestly, in my opinion. Like I mean, I wasn't expecting them to win. Well, I mean, I was at least expecting them, to hold their ground and something like that. But unfortunately, it wasn't that. It wasn't that, honestly. Well, I mean, let's not waste too much time on the Qataris and the Ecuadorians. Let's just move on. By the way, Enel Valencia has 2 goals now. The race for the Golden Boot is on.
true, yeah, yeah. While you mention it, who do you think will get the Golden Boot at this World Cup? What is your prediction on that?
Honestly, right now, I actually am not very sure, to be honest, because the thing is now like if you can uh if for example, see, the thing is this: Ecuador now has 2 goals. Sorry, Valencia now has 2 goals, right? So the point now becomes is if he's able to nick one against Senegal, he has 3 goals. And we know that to win the Golden Boot, you need just like 5 goals or stuff like that. Normally something like that.
Yeah.
It's so I think that he might be a dark horse in the running. But I think the usual suspects, like the likes of I would say, to be honest, I was gonna say Thomas Muller, but like given what happened to Germany, I'm just gonna eliminate that. But because we've seen Messi score now, Ronaldo score now, so Harry Kane is yet to get off. But there is I will throw an interesting name in here, Bukayo Saka of England as well from Arsenal. I think there is a chance out there to see something. And also, let's watch Brazil later today, and then after Brazil, we can see if there might be potentials out there based on how they finish. And then you go to Spain as well. How can we forget about Spain? With Ferran Torres and Marco Asensio and what is on? Because like the game, yes, it was yesterday, right? If I'm not mistaken, they could have all had four goals each. I mean, if Ferran Torres is scoring 2 goals, then I mean, Ferran Torres is the guy who cannot score goals. We've heard even the president of Barcelona say this. If he's having 2 goals, then you know that he's missed 10 chances.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, that was probably one of the most exciting games. It was a goal fest, so those are the kinds of games where you feed your stats, I guess. We'll see what happens now in the rest of the World Cup. It's only the first week, so predictions are more exciting, uh, I guess. But I don't know, like with the likes of maybe Benzema not being there, I don't know, Haaland not being there, the pool is a bit smaller. So
Actually,
it will still probably be Mbappe where we're getting, but
Actually, I just came back to now. And I actually, forgot about what's he called, Olivier Giroud as well. Like with all due respect, 100%. His respects to the man. Like he's got two. He also got 2 goals, if I'm not mistaken. And Taremi from Iran as well. So that is in actually, like Iran were really bad. But what I actually think about this is like Taremi is a very good striker. From his exploit in Portugal with FC Porto. But what's happening now is that if, for example, his 2 goals came out of nothing and against a very tired English side, you understand? So, if, for example, let's say he plays Wales or USA or something like that, and these guys get tired, he has the chance of getting another one goal here and there. Okay, maybe even if his team doesn't win, but because his team is on the back foot for so much of the game, he doesn't have a lot of running to do and what is not. So, towards the end of the game, when the defense is tired, he has the chance of nicking one here or there, something like that. So, I mean, that's something also to be checked out. Honestly.
yeah, I agree with you. I don't know for some of the, I guess, smaller footballing nations, not necessarily in size. Um, I think there are some, exciting teams, more from the point, of them being more exotic. I guess we don't get to see them that often. I already mentioned, I guess, Australia. I hope they do well, and some Asian countries are doing well. Japan was amazing, and South Korea actually had a really good fight today, and maybe not the most attacking team, but they held their ground, and I'm sure they will be, happy to not lose any points there. A point is a point, and that's important. But yeah, I think the best part is, probably the second weekend what's coming. For example, in my group, I was kind of hoping that Canada would score that penalty Davis missed. I don't know if you watched
Okay,
that game.
before we go on, Doris, before we reach that, let's just go day by day, and then we can get to Canada eventually. Because I really have very strong opinion about the Canada Belgium game, or honestly.
All right, all
You
right.
know, one day, we had England against Iran 6-2. We had Senegal against the Holland. The Netherlands won 2 goals to nothing. Late goals, and then we had the game of the day, in my opinion, United States versus Wales. It was 1-1. It was one-way traffic in the first half, and in the second half, it was just all Wales, and Gareth Bale did his thing. So yeah, England 6-2. I didn't watch the England game. I didn't watch the England game actually. I can't recall, but I was occupied with something, so I wasn't able to watch the England game. Were you able to watch it?
I feel like I watched only like the first few minutes. I don't know where I was at that time. And the score wasn't 6-2 when I saw it last. So yeah, I don't really have a huge opinion on that game, but a lot of people, were praising Bellingham for scoring. They were basically calling him a god for that game, which I don't know, like fair enough. It was the first goal, and I actually saw that goal. That's where I stopped watching. I had to go somewhere. But yeah, I mean, it was a good showing from England. It's not the kind of team that usually scores this many goals. Most of their games are 1-0 or 2-0, 2-1. Not the most exciting team in that point. You would expect England to be like a really, really attacking team, and from the amount of talent that they have in their nation, I guess. But they're used to playing, five at the back, which is, very defensive football. Which, if it works, it works. I mean, we can mock them all we want, but they reached, a Euro final. They were in the semi-finals right before
So,
that in the World Cup.
so the thing now actually becomes this like right now, he's Gareth Southgate actually ditched the back at five at the back right now. That's what I'm going to point to. Like that's why I think that's one of the reasons why they became more attacking. Now he played with four at the back, so I think that gives more. We have more creative players on the pitch.
Yeah,
Because
that
when
would be way better. I didn't see the game, so I don't know how the
he
lineup
ditched
was. Yeah.
the five at the back, he moved back to a traditional back four. So I think that's one of the reasons why they're. But then the truth is, like you have to give credit. Like although it's only Iran, but you have to give credit. Like I think Iran is the 19th ranked team in the FIFA ranking, so we have to give credit to that as well. So you can only beat what is in front of you. Anyways, moving on. The
Yeah,
second
that would
game
be
of the
way
day
better.
was
I didn't.
Senegal against Poland, and I think actually I talked about it a bit earlier. Like it was actually, Senegal performed really well against Holland, in my opinion. But then, like, I think like the lack of cutting edge was just their downfall. So I think the over reliance on Sadio Mane in attack became so obvious. Although as much as they were in defense, it became so obvious to be honest. And the Dutch just won the game in the end towards the end of the game. To be honest, like they won the game towards the end of the game, and I think the first head up from Cody Gakpo was I mean, it was an opportunistic finish. It was a chance that I think he wasn't even very sure where the ball was going to end. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, man. Like you just have to take these chances once, so whenever you can take them. I don't know. Were you able to see the games of USA versus Wales?
Also, no, but I don't know. I heard people were hyped about Bale, but I'm not sure that he actually did well. I didn't understand if he did well, and that's why they were hyping him for the goal, I guess. But yeah, I didn't get to see that one, and I also didn't see the Mexico Poland one. That's
So
the one
actually,
I
the thing
remember.
about the game against USA and Wales was that, in my opinion, uh, in the first half, USA were really dominant. Okay, so what happened is, if anyone as is not used to European football, he doesn't understand how Wales play. Wales play suck the pressure and find a chance to release either Dan James or Gareth Bale for just a moment of magic. The Wales is a team of moments. You understand? They don't like play intricate football or something like this. So the US filled with a lot of kids who are like inexperienced and overhyped kids, in my opinion. So like they just went, played and played and played in the first half to just one goal by teamwork. And then in the second half, Gareth Bale does what Gareth Bale does. He won the penalty and he scored the penalty, and that was just it. Like the game was over. Like to be honest, like in the first half it was all US, but in the second half Wales came to the game and the US, totally lost its footing in the game, and the game ended as a 1-1 draw. So yeah, but it was an exciting game. I actually did like the game, to be honest. But then anyways, moving on. The day after on Tuesday, we had the biggest shock of the World Cup so far. Argentina won, Saudi Arabia 2. Messi scoring a penalty. They had 3 goals ruled out for offside. And before you know it, in the second half, I think in the space of 5-6 minutes, Saudi scored 2 goals, with the second goal from the captain being a Wally. That was a fantastic goal. I don't know, did you see the game or not? Like we were in class back then, so I wasn't able to see the game.
Yeah, I mostly heard people talking about it. I didn't get to see it live. The World Cup is in a really fortunate time in the year when most people are working and the games are being played,
Yeah.
during the day instead of during night or in the evening. So yeah, that's a huge element in this World Cup. So a lot of people will miss a lot of games, but it is what it is. Uh, for the game, it is still probably one of the most exciting ones just because of the result. I didn't get to see the actual game and how they played,
Yeah.
but the result was funny enough. And I'm sure there was a lot of Messi haters that were really happy about this one. um, I cannot say that I was sad about it. I was actually really happy for a team like that to actually do something, and I'm sure that a lot of people were happy for them. uh, but yeah, Messi scored a penalty. I guess we can call him Pessi now. But yeah, I'm just kidding. I think the result is the most important thing to take away from that game. I'm I'm pretty sure Argentina will still go through. If they don't, that will be the biggest shock. And we can thank Saudi Arabia for that, which some people will probably tattoo on their chest or something the date that it happened. Not many teams actually beat Argentina.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Anyways, the game was really good, and that's the magic of the World Cup. Even away from all the the noise around the World Cup and what is and what is not rightly or wrongly, that's left for the people to decide. But this is what the game about is about. This is what the football is about. Like teams like Saudi Arabia, coming out of nowhere, like they had literally zero chance, against a team like a team like Argentina, like with names that like are just their FIFA fantasy names, man. Like these players from Saudi would never even dream of coming close to them ever in their life. This is what the World Cup brings. Anyways, moving on, Denmark, Tunisia. Actually, I would say Tunisia are one of the teams that surprised me the most because I have always known Tunisia to be a very, very anti-football, like Cholo Simeone-esque kind of anti-football, you
Mm.
know. So, and then in the game against Denmark, I don't know, maybe because like Denmark is a very expansive team, but in the game against Denmark, they were really, really expansive, like much more than I had ever thought they could be. And to be honest, they took the game to Denmark, like Denmark took the game to them, they took the game to Denmark. It was a really, really nice game. Like, although it ended as a nil-nil draw, it's one of those games that the result doesn't justify the game. To be honest, I feel like it was a really, really good game in my opinion, but then it ended as nil. So I don't know, were you able to see that game as well?
Yeah, I was. Most of it. It's also probably the reason why I mentioned that so many games ended in nil-nil or 1-0.
Yeah.
It was disappointing, I expected, a more exciting start to this World Cup. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was an all right game. Nothing special about it. It was a nil-nil. I think Eriksson had a pretty good chance. I think it was a long shot from outside the box that almost went in. Uh, but yeah, there wasn't much to say about it. I guess we will see the more from these teams in the weeks that are about to come.
Yeah,
Did,
definitely,
did
definitely.
you get to see the Mexico Poland game? Another game that ended in nil-nil.
Actually didn't watch that game. I didn't watch the last two games of the night, actually. Mexico, Poland, and France, Australia. I couldn't see both games actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't recall what I was just occupied with something. I can't recall what it was honestly, but I couldn't see the two games honestly. I actually wanted to watch France, but I didn't have the chance. Mexico Poland was a nil-nil. I don't know how was it. Was it? I actually didn't even watch the highlights or anything from the both games.
Me neither, but we have Javier.
Yeah,
Even even he was pretty much mute in the chat. I think there was a contested penalty for Lewandowski, and he didn't get it. I think, or he
yeah.
missed it. There was
Ochoa,
something about it.
Ochoa saved the penalty in the game. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he saved a penalty, right? So yeah, that's probably disappointing for him too. That's not that's not the only penalty this first week that was saved by the goalkeeper. But yeah, I'm sure Lewandowski will be really disappointed with himself. I'm sure he has really high ambitions for this season, considering that he's doing really well in La Liga. Uh, I'm sure he's expecting for this World Cup to it's probably his last one, so he's probably expecting to do something really magical. But for the sake of Madrid, I hope he doesn't do it. So. But yeah.
Of magic. Like, I don't know if don't I because I remember like after the 2014 World Cup, if I'm not mistaken, Ochoa actually sort of moved to Europe. But I think it was to League One, but I don't remember which team. And he flopped so badly. And I think also like I've heard like that Ochoa actually is not that much of a very good goalkeeper, even in the Liga MX as well. But whenever the World Cup comes around, Ochoa just becomes something else. He becomes a superhuman. Like, I mean, that's one of the good things about, the national team and, this world championship, honestly. Like, they give you, that chance to, how can I say, like, they just give you additional motivation. They give you additional morale, to be honest, like, things that you don't have. Because I remember, like, also the first, although, like, Kelo has been playing, in Spain with Levante, like, I fell in love with Costa Rica in 2014 as well. I think they went all the way to the quarters. So I mean, those guys, like we even had, the American goalkeeper Tim Howard. I think also it was in 14. Yeah, I think it was in 14 as well. Tim Howard, like with in the game against Belgium, where they had the petition to put him on the $1 bill because he was saving so much shots. And so yeah, I mean, the point is that like this players, these unheralded players, these players that we don't get to see on European TV, night in night out, like it's a chance for them, to remind the world of how good they can be, and the magic of the World Cup just keeps running and running. Yeah. So, okay, let's start with your team, Morocco against Croatia. So I will just let people know that you predicted that it's going to be a 10-0 kind of stuff.
No, okay. Yado was showing me how to do OBS, and I had to test out the text. So don't say that. But
Ah,
maybe
people check.
I jinxed it into a no goal game with a 10 goal game. So yeah, another 0-0 game. The game was actually pretty boring. If I was I was I was gonna say a natural, which I am. If I was a neutral, um, it would probably be an even more boring game. Us Croatians, we expected to win that game probably with a 1-0 or something like that, but it didn't happen. Both teams didn't really try. I think there were only like 7 shots or something like that from Croatia, which was really disappointing. And some players which shouldn't have played were started in the first lineup. One of them being Kramaric, which I cannot stress enough how much he needs to be benched. For some reason, he tends to start a lot of games for Dalic, and I think we have two better strikers than him. We have Petkovic and Livaya. Livaya came on late, I think in like the 75th or 80th minute. I'm not sure, but it was pretty late, and the substitutions were pretty late. I was expecting Meyer to be substituted on for Kovacic a lot sooner, because Kovacic was invisible, and he tends to do that when he plays for Croatia. Something happens to him. He's not really that. I mean, he's not usually, even for Chelsea, that star player that everyone looks at. But for Croatia, he's always been a bit lackluster. There's only one, really significant moment he's given us. That's against Argentina. Even there, he had a pretty bad miss. Uh, but yeah, I was expecting a lot more from that game. It will give us, some fire under our feet, because we need to win our next two games. I was expecting, for example, Belgium and Canada. I was really hoping for Davis to score that goal, because then everyone in the group would be even, because we would all draw. But unfortunately, Davis didn't score. Even though I like that Belgium won. I will always root for a European nation, I guess. But yeah, also another 1-0 game. It wasn't really what we expected. We would a lot of people on the internet were expecting Canada to do something incredible. You're gonna see this and this player that will be amazing, and not really much happened. De Bruyne was man of the match, which people weren't really happy about.
Definitely.
Did you see the full game?
I saw the game actually, the game Canada against Belgium, and I felt like, like Belgium should have had a second penalty. I think there was the trip on, I think, was it Jonathan David? I can't remember who it was. From What was the name of the guy? I think it was from Witzel. Witzel was the guy who tripped in the second half after Bachoya scored the goal, and like there was no. I think that was for sure a shoe him penalty, and like really like these refs have to be consistent. For example, today we saw a penalty from Ronaldo. I mean, the Ronaldo penalty today was very soft in my opinion,
It was,
and today we had like I think yeah it was Jonathan David being tripped over by Witzel. Literally he pushed him and there is no PK. So that's what we're asking for, consistency throughout the game. Honestly, we want consistency. And like to be honest, like Belgium are out of it. De Bruyne was nothing. He was literally invincible in the game. Eden Hazard, nothing. He had just one good control throughout the match, and that was it. You know, Thibaut does what Thibaut does. It was a PK, and he just literally saved it. Although I think it was also a bad penalty from Alfonso Davies as well. But you
yeah.
can only in front of you, honestly. So yeah, I mean, it was a really good performance from Thibaut Courtois as usual. I think he's used to that. Playing with the Real Madrid defense. So like he's used to saving the team week in week out. So it's nothing new. Yeah. So I mean, there was that, but I actually don't think Belgium are gonna win anything, but I think Belgium can do better. Honestly, I think like the point is you need to start moving away from some of these players. To be honest, like for example, Leandro Trossard has been very good for Brighton this season. To be honest, like Eden Hazard hasn't been. Eden Hazard hasn't been. So I would suggest, like, I would, in my opinion, like someone like Hazard should be coming on as an impact sub until he ends his position in the team, to be honest, because he doesn't, have an impact there. And also, I'm, keenly awaiting the return of the big rum. Like, I think Lukaku actually is gonna have, an impact in the way this guy's playing. Is gonna change, the way the performance also. Yeah, I don't know, but I was really, really, impressed by the way Canada played. But I think yesterday, I think maybe like the first World Cup in ages. So maybe they what's it called? The occasion got to them because I think their finishes could have been a little bit more better. Because although I haven't seen a lot of Jonathan Davis, I know like he could be better than what he displayed yesterday. So yeah, I think there's something about the Canadian team that people have to look out for, in my opinion. Yeah, but before moving on, though, like, talk to me about Luka Modric. Like, how was Modric in the game against Morocco?
I was saying for the watch along, if anyone seen it, probably one of his worst games for Croatia. Not so much in the way he played, but the amount of fouls he made. A lot of people said he should have gotten a red card just for the amount of fouls that he accumulated during the game. I mentioned that he tends to do that in his club also, where when he loses the ball or if he feels that he doesn't have control over the pitch, and the ball, and his space, he tends to foul a lot. He tries to compensate, for his lack of control, and he fouls, and he does that in Madrid also sometimes, which it's a rare thing to catch him, out of control. So you don't get to see it that often, but in this game he didn't have control. No one in our midfield did. Kovacic and Brozovic were atrocious. Brozovic was a bit better than Kovacic, but yeah, there was no control in that game, and he fouled a lot, which wasn't particularly a good game from him. You know. It won't be remembered as a great game.
Yeah, so let's moving on to the Germany Japan game. Going from one Madrid star to another Madrid star. So it was a game that Tony Rudiger started, and I felt like in the first 60 minutes, Tony Rudiger was a wall. You know, Tony Rudiger was a wall, and everything he just literally repelled every single thing that came his way. But then the Japanese, who actually model their game on the German football. Actually, I was hearing the commentators were saying like, the father of the modern Japanese football is a German. Actually, I couldn't recall his name. And like I think around eight members of the Japanese squad at the World Cup actually played a trade in Germany as well. And both the goal scorers actually also play in the German first division. So it was quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, Germany just collapsed. I don't know. Did you watch the game or not? Like after the first goal, Germany collapsed totally, 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 totally.
Yeah, I was at work, so I was only able to watch with the corner of my eye. But yeah, I was mostly watching the fans. The amount of fun the Japanese fans had was really funny, and it's a really nice thing to see. We like the World Cup mostly for the culture of it and everyone being so excited about it. And this is if you ask for a good starting game, this is the kind of game you want to see as a neutral at least. Um, yeah, I'm really happy that they won. I mean, I like Germany. I have nothing against them, but I was really happy for Japan. And Japan is not a bad team. Like far from it, they tend to do well, and they qualify for every World Cup. So there is a problem with people underestimating Japan. I mean, I think we all still expected that they will win this game, but that Germany would win this game. But I'm not, surprised that this happened. They are more than capable of doing this. To
Actually, that's the thing. For example, you could see like for Saudi Arabia after they defeated Argentina, it was a holiday the next day. But
mm,
then for Japanese, it wasn't maybe because of a cultural difference and what is not about because what if people remember rightly, like at the 2018 World Cup, the Japanese were in the round of 16 and they almost knocked out Belgium. They were 2-1 up, I think, in the 70th minute or something like that against Belgium. And then they just obviously like the difference in quality eventually shows up. But like Japanese are not like a team that came out of nowhere or something like that. Like these are a really really good team. Like Japan actually is a good team, as you rightly pointed out. And honestly, like, similarly to Jude Bellingham against Germany, I think Jamal Musiala actually balled out yesterday as well. But then, because of the defeat, so he's not gonna be pointed out because of he played in defeat. But I think those are two youngsters that people could keep an eye out for, honestly. Uh, but yeah, I felt like, as I said, Tony Rudiger was good for 1 hour, and after that, like the team just crumbled, and he just crumbled with the team as well. So I think that's the thing about the leadership issue. About like you have to call your people into yeah, you have to marshal your backline and what is not. But I don't know. I mean, let's not be too critical of Tony Rudiger as well. It was a total crumble. Like I mean, he couldn't control what Ram was going to do at the fullback position as well. So, anyways, it is what it is. But then let's go to the game of the day for yesterday, which was Spain against Costa Rica. I watched the first half. I think the first half ended with 4-0, if I'm not mistaken, or 3-0. I'm not sure.
mm.
I watched the first.
Uh, yeah, that was also while I was working. I didn't get to see, the entire game. I missed most of the goals, but I would see it every time that they would score, and I was just, you know, surprised by the result. I think no one expected a 7-0. You can always when you expect someone to trash another team, you expect like a 3-0 or a 4-0. A 7-0 is kind of excessive, but okay. I'm sure they were enjoying themselves. But yeah, it is unfortunate for Taylor. I'm sure he's not happy with that game, but it's not his fault. Also, we need to mention that he doesn't even start games for his own club, which is it's a huge factor. He is a bit old, and then not starting your games, that never works out well. I mean, we cannot blame PSG for not starting him. They have two world class goal, goalkeepers, but yeah, 7-0 is not what he deserved. I mean, we can only praise Spain for this. They had over 1,000 passes, which is Spain doing Spain things. It's kind of a, a meme at this point. Spain with their passes. But yeah, it is probably one of the most exciting games just because of the score, and I'm sure any country would like to have a game like this. I'm sure I would love to see Croatia one day, trash someone 7-0, but probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, I actually, even away from that, like, it was really, really exquisite, like one touch, intricate passing, even you need to see the goal from Dani Olmo. It was a really, really good goal, really like good team play, build up, and what is not. Yeah, like it was a one touch, intricate passing. And I felt like even though they won 7-0, I still feel like Spain were wasteful, in my opinion. I think it's just similar to what we saw at the Euros, like a lot of one touch tiki taka passing, but then, like the lack of cutting edge. But then right now, they came across maybe the worst or the second worst team in the competition, and they came across even a who is totally out of it. Like Kalo was totally out of it, and you rightly pointed out some of the reasons why that could be. But yeah, they came across that. But our boy Marco was good. Asensio was good, honestly. With though, I mean, this is what Marco Asensio loves. Like this kind of games, like the one-touch football. You give and go,
Yeah.
kick and cut. So I think it was a game that was suited, to his abilities as well. And I think he found, a freedom of expression with the Spanish team as well, because like there was a lot of interchange in the team and what is and what is not. So yeah, it was nice to see it was nice to see Asensio flourish, to be honest. But the interesting thing for me in the Spanish game was why they were playing Rodri as a defender, as a center back. So I'm actually thinking like, so actually, Rodri is better as a CB than Nacho is, or what? I think it's maybe because of recycling of the possession or something like that. Maybe because like eventually you get to see that uh, playing another CB doesn't change anything because like Costa Rica isn't gonna cause you any danger or something like that. But actually, it just came to my mind like the only thing that came to my mind was so like they thinking it's better to play Nacho to play Rodri as a center back than play Nacho as a center back. It's
No, no,
just
no, no, no. You got it wrong. They think it's better to play Eric Garcia instead of Nacho, and I think that's a bigger factor than playing Rodri as a centre back, because those are two very questionable choices from the manager, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I know we were all really surprised when we saw the full squad for Spain, and Nacho really deserves to be there, but he's not the only one. I was also really surprised that Ramos isn't playing. You know, uh, it, he is a character, and it's not his first time playing in the World Cup. He is a veteran, and you could probably say that he's not in form or whatever, but he is. It's not that he's playing bad in PSG. I think he also has like 2 or 3 assists this season, and they were all to Messi, which is funny. But yeah, those are two center backs that deserve to be there over some other players. But another questionable choice was Aspilicueta against
and
Carvajal, the, I guess.
I was thinking maybe Carvalho might be injured or something like that. Is that possible?
Could be possible, but I doubt he would do that. I doubt he would, miss the World Cup any match, any player that I would miss a game. And I don't think I've seen any article or something. You can check, but I don't think that there was anything said about him being injured. I hope he's not. He tends to be injured a lot, and he doesn't need that to happen at the World Cup. He is one of those players that I'm predicting are gonna come back injured. It tends to happen with him, but yeah, also probably one of the reasons we need another right back at Madrid. But we move from that. Yeah, I was surprised about the lineup at least. I didn't get to see the whole game, but yeah, looking at it was surprising the defense.
I actually watched the game with this loud Spanish fans. Like, there was this guy from Bilbao, and he was like a Bilbao fan, and he was like, the reason why Ramos is not in the squad is because like Ramos has an ego, and for the Spanish national team, there's only room for one ego, and that ego is Lucho. So like, there's no one can be bigger than Lucho in the Spanish national team, and I actually made that makes sense a lot. But then I mean, it is what it is. Like, you cannot. The point is he's gone to the semis with this team at the Euros and he's won just 7-0. So I mean you cannot criticize what he has done so far. Well,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean it is what it is honestly. So you can just be credit where it is. But I just want to pinpoint that yesterday Sergio P was a monster in the middle of the pack. He was really good yesterday actually. He was like the old Sergio Busquets that we used to know once upon a time. He was really good actually. Yeah, so anyways, just we can move on from the game yesterday to today's games.
we had Switzerland Cameroon, another game that was 1-0. I didn't get to see the whole game. It was early for me. Actually, it was like at 1 p.m. or 11 p.m. I don't remember which one it was. Doesn't matter, but yeah, another game that was 1-0. Embolo scored, right? I think there was also a penalty that was supposed to be given or something like that. So we had some drama there. I'm not a big fan of Cameroon, mostly because of the 2014 game against Croatia, where it was a rough game. That there were some red cards. I don't know if you remember that moment, that one play. I don't remember which one, but he ran after Mandzukic and just elbowed him like this to keep him down. It was one of those memorable moments. But yeah, 1-0 game, not much to be said. Switzerland is one of those teams, that give you trouble but never really do anything special in tournaments. You hate to play against them. They're definitely not an easy team. But yeah, they tend to be, kind of neutral and not too attacking, not too defensive, which is kind of fitting for Switzerland and their politics, being neutral in everything. And yeah, some memorable games were, I guess, from I think Euros or Nations League they recently had. I think it was against Serbia. It was a fun game to watch. Also, there was a lot of drama, I guess. So I don't know. Both teams, we will see more of them. I'm not expecting Cameroon to do amazing in the tournament, but we've seen some upsets so far. So we can never rule anyone out.
Definitely.
Uh, Another game that we had today was Uruguay against South Korea, and I have to mention that South Korea actually played really well. I don't get to see them that often, for the Asian tournament, which I should tune in next time. I was told that they are a good team. I mean, we we all know Son, and he had an alright game. Everyone was looking at him, which is a big thing, for famous players. Everyone is looking at you, so there's a lot more pressure on you. Um, it was disappointing that it was 0-0. Valverde had some really good shots. He had two shots that hit the crossbar, and everyone started screaming
Yeah.
before it even touched the crossbar. We were all expecting it to go in, and the second time it was really close. It was really close, and unfortunate that it didn't go in. Um, yeah, he also had one volley that was really close to going in. We have to mention Valverde a bit more, given that he's our star player right now. Um, they decided to play him a bit, further back, which was really surprising, and I didn't feel like that really, unlocked his potential in this game, especially given that we had Suarez up top that wasn't really great today. Darwin Nunez was trying way too hard, and Valverde basically played the CDM in the end, which was disappointing for him because he can do way more in the attack. Most of the time, other midfielders were going up. Betancourt was for most of the game, up front, which we would expect Federico to be the one to do that, but
The positions should be reversed around the way other way around, not I don't know.
yeah, uh, it was a wasted uh, potential from Valverde there, and I don't think uh, uh, um, that their manager should be playing him like that. The only real chances were actually from him. The only times he actually got on the ball and went, up there. Most of the time he was playing, back passes and short passes on the left, not really moving and countering like he does in Madrid. But we cannot expect every his every team to play our way. We are mostly comparing our players to play with the way they play in our club, which is not fair because some managers are asking you to do other things. It's just in my really subjective opinion that Valverde was really wasted there, and I'm sure a lot of people can agree with me on that. And I hope that for his sake that it changes in the next couple of games, that he gets to go forward a bit more.
Yeah, actually, I also saw that, like, and also there was this thing that stood out to me actually in the, I think it was in the 80th minute or in the 88, after the 80 minutes, there was this tackle he made and he just jumped up and, like, he just, punched the air, like, like he scored a goal just after he hit the bar. I think he hit the bar like 5 minutes before that. And like, that's Fede for you, man. Like he's just that person that puts everything into the game and, he doesn't leave anything on the pitch. He's just, to be honest, he's a very lovely player. And as you just rightly pointed out, like he playing so further behind today was, quite weird. Like, I mean, he's better when he's closer to goal, but then it is what it is. I think, to be honest, I think you're a guy with Fede and Darwin has, something to show. But I think Darwin Nunez is just trying too hard, in my opinion, to make things work. I think if he can just calm down and think a little bit more, because he's trying to do things before even he receives the ball. So when he receives the ball, he's not even able to think and picture what's happening in front of him and like thereof. So I think if he can just sit down and picture that, I think it's gonna be a very very positive thing for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I was just you know thinking a bit more how him playing so far back, he didn't get to use his space as he usually does. He likes to do those fast runs into the opposition mid midfield, to gain some space and to really bring some fire to attack, which we didn't see today. They made so many misplaced passes, and he was actually really good at passing. He had really good crosses and all that. I was just hoping that he would be at the end of them and not the one crossing. He even was the one that was sometimes, uh, passing from the corners, which again wasted opportunity. We would see later in the second half, he was actually, standing at the edge of the box, waiting for that shot from corner, but it never came. And another kind of disappointing game. It wasn't really that exciting, but I'm really hoping to see more of Uruguay in the future and the next few games. Really, only because of Valverde. Not really a big fan of other players, but I really want him to do well. So yeah, Uruguay will be probably a team to watch. Not the strongest start, but still anything can happen, in this one. And for South Korea, we need to mention that they were actually really good. Maybe not so much in the attack, but either team they were they weren't really good in attack. Their manager was pissed with them, but they managed to draw, and that's really important. A point is a point. It's better to be on 1-1 than 3-0 with the points. So yeah, we will mostly all watch Uruguay at this point.
Yeah, so the other game of the day was Portugal Ghana. The first half was just all drab, like doubtful, I don't know, a fishy Cristiano Ronaldo penalty, you know. And you come, sorry, it was in the second half. The first half ended 0, if I'm not mistaken. In the second half, we come, we got a fishy Cristiano penalty, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, Andre Ayew, equalizes. The Ghanaian legend Andre Ayew, he equalizes, and then before you know it, João Felix, also goes back to one, and then we have Rafael Leao coming on and making an immediate impact. And then the funny thing is, we had Bukhari scoring at the end of the game and throwing in the Cristiano Ronaldo celebration.
Yeah, that was interesting. A lot of people were talking, is he just a big fan or mocking him? Ronaldo didn't take it well, but maybe he was just angry at the goal, not at the celebration. But we'll never know. I guess enough drama with him. I think we can all agree on that one. But yeah, everyone is talking about the penalty, but there was also one questionable disallowed goal for Ronaldo. I don't know if you got to see that one in the first half.
Hmm, I can't recall. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. It's allowed goal. Yeah, I saw it. I saw it.
That was a really weak disallowed goal. I don't think it was, straight. He just said, no goal, and I think that there was a bit more to look at. I don't think it deserved to be a disallowed goal, but maybe I just need to watch it again. Maybe I missed something, but I'm more annoyed that the referee was so sure about it, and also so sure about the penalty. Which it's okay to go to VAR. You're not perfect as a referee, and if you look at it, we don't actually even see that much VAR as much as we see it in the league. If you actually, have,
Yeah.
if you can actually point this out that, in this World Cup, only which games actually had VAR used?
I mean, yesterday in the Denmark Tunisia game, we had the
Yeah.
VAR. There was a penalty check, and he went to the monitor and he refused to give the penalty. Like he was a Mexican ref, I think Javier said. I
Mm.
mean, because normally every time when you go to the monitor, you just always come back and point to the spot. But this time around, they didn't give a penalty for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, our commentator in Croatian was actually talking about how everyone will call Ronaldo Penaldo now, and it was really funny to hear that on TV and spoken in Croatian. But yeah, other goals from Portugal's were really good. I mean, all goals were pretty good, all of them in this game, and it's a real contrast. The first half being so boring, and there were 5 goals in the second half. So if we see more of this, I'm gonna be really happy, considering how the World Cup started. But yeah, both João Felix and Rafael Leao had a goal, and both goals were really good, especially Rafael goal. I was, really surprised with that whole play. I don't remember who assisted it though. It
Bruno
I
Fernandes.
lost it. I don't think I know. But yeah, Ghana's goals. I'm not really familiar with their players that much. I don't know if you can help me with this, but yeah, both goals they scored were really good. Um, there was also in the last couple of minutes, the goalkeeper made a mistake and forgot that Williams, Inaki Williams is behind him, and that could have been, a real howler. Could have been one of the biggest mistakes, in World Cup. Given that it was like 109th minute or something like that, something crazy like that, and to to equalize on a 3-3, it would have been probably the biggest story of the week. But yeah, it was an exciting half, and I hope to see more from this. Costa was really angry with himself. I don't know if you see, like, after the match. I didn't see the interview with him, but yeah, he was really mad at himself. And as a player, that is one of your biggest nightmares. And as a goalkeeper, that would probably be your biggest nightmare. There is nothing more that you would dread than doing something like this. Leaving the ball and someone coming from your back and just like that is entirely on you. Because if you misplace your throw, like, I don't know, Willy Saballero did with Argentina, or Karius that did with with Benzema with his throw, like those things, you messed up. But when you do this, like, you just leave the ball, and that's probably the most humiliating thing you can do as a goalkeeper. And I mean, I'm glad for him that he didn't do it, but I'm also sad because memes.
Yeah, that's what it is. Anyways, moving on. So the last game of the day is actually going on right now. Brazil against Serbia, and as we said before, like it's looking like
Still at 0-0, but Serbia has only won 11% um, possession. Sorry, and Brazil has 61, which is a huge difference. We're currently not able to watch the game. I'm not sure if Farouk is watching the game. He seems to be looking somewhere far in the distance. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Um, but I guess you can tell us more what's happening then in this
I
game.
mean, as you said, like like it's been one-way traffic, and like Serbia are just getting like trying to break on the counter. So yeah, it's just Brazil. Like Neymar. Sorry, Vini had a couple of interesting runs, and Neymar just here. I don't know, man. He started the diving throw or something like that. I don't know. He's just been falling all around the pitch. What is not. And Rafinha had a very, very, very good chance that he could not take. Yeah, but that's just been it so far. Yeah, nothing interesting. Well, anyways, yeah, we can move on from that, so we can allow Doris to also go and watch the game as soon as possible. But then before moving on, let's see what games are remaining during the week, Doris. So tomorrow we have Wales against Iran, Qatar against Senegal, Netherlands against Ecuador, and we have England against the United States.
Yeah,
What do you?
so that's the start of week two. We'll see. That's a game two for all of those teams. So the week stops here, but Iran had a pretty bad loss against England, and Wales. I wouldn't really call it a good game, winning 1-1 with a penalty. So I'm sure both teams will play way harder than they did, especially Iran. Given everything that's happening and given the way they lost, it was probably really embarrassing for them. But yeah, that is an exciting game. There's also Qatar against Senegal. Another game that Qatar will probably lose, and it is very possible that this will be the first time the host gets 0 points. It is very possible that that will happen. I'm kind of hoping for it, but uh, it is what it is. There's nothing really we can do right now, but I'm not really expecting Qatar to do much in that game. I don't think anyone is. Uh, but yeah, is Mane gonna play, or is he
No, Mane is
completely?
out of Mane is out of the tournament
Yeah,
totally.
completely. Yeah. So I thought it's only for the first few games, but I guess he's completely out. So yeah, that is a big factor for them, but they still have a really good team. Maybe some players didn't really reach their complete potential, maybe like Sar, but there are still other players in that team that are really good. Moving on, there's the Netherlands against Ecuador. Um, what is your prediction for that game?
I think the Netherlands should get a point at least out of this game, in my opinion, because I feel like Ecuador, again, even though we saw what we saw against Qataris, I feel like the game against the Qataris was just, that's the best they could get. Like I think against the Netherlands, they're gonna face a different proposition, and I think Memphis Depay will be back fit, because with Depay, like the attack of the whole of the Dutch is on a different level. So I believe that worst case scenario, in my opinion, I think the Dutch should be getting 1 point. But I think they will be looking to round up qualification in this game against Ecuador, and they would like to do it in emphatic fashion by getting the victory against Ecuador. And the thing about Ecuador is I think they haven't considered how many. I think around 500 minutes or something like that. I can't recall what the number is right now. But yeah, like the defense is a really staunch defense, so the Dutch should have to find a way to work around it. But I think the Dutch should have enough quality to get past Ecuador.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also expecting Netherlands to get at least a point. But most of us are kind of expecting, most European teams to win their games, which is probably bias. We should never completely rule out teams. Anything can happen. We saw that with Japan. We saw that with South Korea. Standing up to Uruguay. Uh, there was some pretty good games. So who who's to say that Ecuador will not win? Uh, Probably the most talked about game is England versus USA. Mostly because of the memes. Americans are saying that if they win, we should all call it soccer, and if England wins, we should call it football. And you know, uh, I'm pretty sure that England will win this game, so I'm down for the bet. But at the same time, if there's any team on the planet that I don't want to win, it's England. But yeah, it's just bias, you know, European bias. Europeans don't like England. England doesn't like anyone, so it is what it is. I'm gonna be rooting for, you know, myself in that game. Probably for no one, but yeah, it's still a game to watch. It's finally a game that's at night for me, so yeah, I will definitely. Uh, oh no, I actually won't, cause tomorrow is my birthday, so yeah, I'm not gonna watch it. Yeah, but moving on my birthday, we have Tunisia and Australia, Poland and Saudi Arabia, France and Denmark, and Argentina and Mexico. Probably the most exciting games are France and Denmark, and Argentina and Mexico. I'm really hoping that Javier will do a watch along on Saturday. We have to see about that, but he will probably be screaming a lot, so anyone watching probably don't use headphones. So yeah, that game everyone will probably watch it, because you know it's always exciting when you have, you know, World Cup finalists, kind of teams playing against each other, especially this early in the tournament. But yeah, I'm hoping that Mexico will win, mostly because of Javier, and mostly because I don't want Messi to get the World Cup. But bias and Faruka will never be. I will never be sorry about that. I know you want him to win, but let's just move on from that, because it will just start a debate, and also comment if you want Messi to win.
So I think
So,
France Denmark game, the French against the Danish, that might be an interesting game actually. I
yeah,
think we it was like
I was
Denmark.
just about to say that, but I don't think there's any chance that Denmark wins that game. They were really disappointing in the Nations League, and their first game wasn't amazing. And yeah, we, I think we all, you know, expected a lot more from them, and everyone is talking how they're the dark horse, which I just don't understand. I feel like everyone is just copying each other in saying that for no reason, because you know you can look at players like that, but if you look at, you know, their track record so far, they haven't been in really great form, you know. And you know, we can definitely say that this isn't the France, you know, the best France team, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that they will still dominate this game. If not, I don't know what's going on this in this World Cup, because nothing seems to happen the way we say it will. So, you know, mostly we're just doing it for the memes at this point.
Well, then what do you say? Okay, like away from the France Denmark game, Poland Saudi Arabia. Do you think Saudi Arabia qualifies for the round of 16 against Poland, or is it a Lewandowski fest?
If they manage to win against Argentina, I don't think the the chances are really on Poland side, especially with the, you know, a lackluster game from them. You know, the first game against Mexico. You know, and Lewandowski missing his penalty. You know, he will probably try very hard in this game, but Saudi Arabia, you know, they had a really exciting start, so I'm sure from this game they will, you know, do everything they can to go further. Because if they manage to win that, I don't think there's anything that's gonna stop them. You know, no food poisoning, no anything. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Anyways, moving on. The next day we're gonna have the games about Japan, Costa Rica, Belgium, Morocco, Croatia, Canada, and the biggest game of the tournament so far, Spain versus Germany. So let's start from there. What's your take? Do Germany rebound, or like do you think Spain is gonna send them crashing for the second consecutive World Cup?
Well, I'm I'm not happy with either teams, and both teams are. If Croatia goes through, we would play one of those teams, and I'm not happy about either. So I think that's probably, if we even manage to leave this group, I'm pretty sure that we will get knocked out by either of those teams. I mean, Spain had an incredible start, so you have to give the favors to them. But it's only the first game, so you can't really say too much. If they keep the lineup as it is, with the center backs that they have, and especially if they play, Garcia, I'm pretty sure Germany can do something about that. But they do have couple of players that are missing the World Cup. They have a problem at the striker position, so they cannot even take advantage at their center back position. So yeah, uh, it will be a game that everyone will watch because they are two really big footballing nations. But yeah, I'm expecting Spain to win. That is my prediction. How about you?
I mean, it's a difficult game to predict, honestly. Like, I mean, it's gonna be a game where everyone is gonna try to outplay everyone. It's gonna be a very tactical game, I think, in my opinion. But I think Germany's lack of center forwards is gonna be their undoing. But I think if they could play a big center forward to attack the I think the Spanish defense is fragile. I think it was Folkberg that was playing in the ending game against the Japanese. Maybe if they could play him from the start, and just launch some balls into him, at least give the defense to something to think about. So I think that might be something that might cause Spain some inconvenience. So maybe let's see. As I said, to be honest, like for me, I think the Spain Croatia thing, it's a false dawn in my opinion. I don't think it's actually tells exactly the level that the Spanish team are, because honestly, like as I said, Costa Rica in my opinion is one of the worst teams at the World Cup. Well, let me show you this, Doris. So the point is, you're saying if Croatia gets through, you have to play one of them. But the Japanese samurais actually defeated Germany. They're gonna play Costa Rica next. Most likely, they should win against Costa Rica. And if they can get, something out of the game against Spain, all of a sudden you're looking at a different
I
game.
think the biggest thing was that no one expected Germany to lose this game, and that's why we all predicted that it was either Germany or Spain, topping the group and the other one following. So yeah, all most of those predictions, went that way. But it's if anything, it's really exciting that Japan went through, and I would much rather play them than Germany or Spain. The even though they won, there's still bias of knowing how good Germany and Spain usually are as a footballing nation. So I would still rather play Japan. It's just that no one could have predicted, Germany losing to Japan, but it's the World Cup, and that's why it's so exciting, because you can never know what's gonna happen. And like I said, we are here only for the memes at this point, because you can really never know what's gonna happen in the World Cup.
Definitely, definitely. So let's go to the Croatia Canada game. What do you think's happening there? You think your people are coming home with the points, or Canada is gonna
Well,
spring?
the thing is, with Croatia is, unless it's like one of those like really 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 big footballing countries, we're not really expecting to lose the, those games. And it really hurt us that we drew with Morocco, and it hurt us even more that Canada missed that penalty. And like I said, if Canada got that, or scored that penalty, the whole group would have been, even on points. So far, Belgium has 3 points, Canada and Morocco have one, and uh, no, Canada has zero, and Croatia and Morocco have one. So yeah, if anything, it will be exciting to watch it. We really need those 3 points to know to feel safe. And if Canada and Morocco still, have a draw or something, it will work really well for us. The best thing we can hope is, Canada losing this match and winning against Morocco, but that's, World Cup dreams that every team has, thinking
Indeed.
of the best solution that can happen, But I don't know. We will see. The only thing I can say is I'm really hoping that we see a different lineup from Croatia, even though I doubt that Zlatko Dalic will change Kramaric for anyone.
Valid points, valid points. Okay, so let's move to the last game week of the game, last game day of game week 2. So we have Cameroon against Serbia, Korea against Ghana, and then we have Brazil, Switzerland, and Portugal against Uruguay. So I'm just gonna say, like, I think the Korea versus Ghana game is gonna be interesting because actually today, as we saw in the second half, like Ghana can be a very interesting team to play as well. And like that, as rightly point, like Korea was really really good to the led in defense by Kim from Napoli, and also the guys from the German Bundesliga coupled with Son in the forward position. I think it's a game that the Koreans will feel like they can get a proper go out and maybe most likely get 3 points, to kind of solidify a position or rather have half a foot in the next round of the tournament. And then we have Brazil against Switzerland. What do you think, Doris? Brazil, Switzerland, Shakas like Shaqiri, Mbolo, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it will definitely be an interesting game. We haven't seen, the the best start from either teams. It's still 0-0.
Half time right now,
Brazil.
Brazil, Serbia,
Yeah.
no.
So we're all expecting them to just be goal fest after goal fest, but it didn't start that way, and Switzerland actually played 1-0 today, so both teams are not attacking so far that well, but I'm sure that will change. It is the first week and groups are so scary. There's only 3 matches instead of 6. The usual 6 like in the Champions League. Um, but yeah, most teams tend to play really safe, and if 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 there's one thing I hate is teams playing too safe. I'm sure Brazil is definitely not one of those teams, but you never know what happens. I'm of course expecting Brazil to win that game, but you never know what you're gonna get in the World Cup. I don't think Switzerland really has a chance in that game, but we'll see how they do against Serbia tonight.
All right, okay. Then let's see, and then we go to the last game of the game week. It's Paraguay against Portugal. Sorry, Uruguay against Portugal. Yeah, so it's another chance for the likes of Darwin Nunez and Fede and Suarez and Cavani to uh, get some points, because like Portugal has 3 points in the basket right now. So if Portugal is winning that game, Portugal goes through, and then considering that Ghana and Korea they also are gonna start fighting for 3 points. So it's gonna be it's a game that Uruguay will look forward to getting at least a point out of, even if they're not getting all three. It's a game that they will want to get at least something out of. So what's your take on that game? How do you see Fernando Santos' team doing against the Uruguayans?
Uh, well, in today's game, Portugal played really boring football, and I mean both teams did. Both Uruguay and Portugal, they both played pretty boring football, and I mean, I'm of course hoping that it will change. But yeah, the most exciting thing about those games are the players playing in it, not the game itself. Um, but yeah, there are some I- interesting characters in both teams. I think everyone will be looking at Ronaldo. That's a given for uh, Portugal, but it will be interesting to see if he scores how the you know how the tide will change about him. Of course, I'm hoping Valverde will do good, and I'm also hoping that Suarez, gets less minutes instead of Cavani. I think Cavani will do better because I don't know if you see in today's game, Suarez was probably one of the worst players on the pitch.
So
You were gonna
actually,
say something, yeah?
actually had a very good chance. Like the Serbian goalkeeper actually fumbled the ball, and
Mm.
Rafinha went one on one with the goalkeeper, and he couldn't actually score. But then it is what it is. Anyways, yeah, I think we're just wishing. Honestly, I really want Fede to have a very good World Cup because he's deserved it. With all what he's done for us over the past year, I actually feel like it's time for him to break out on the national stage as well. Well, yeah, it is what it is. So we come to the end of the round of fixtures of the second game week as well, and it's time to call this a wrap. But before we call it a wrap, I just want to ask you, what is your favorite moment of the World Cup so far? What's the moment for you so far?
I don't know. I guess there hasn't really been that many memorable moments, but there have been some memorable wins, and I don't know what one on yeah. So Argentina and Saudi Arabia were voted the most exciting games, or the biggest upset in the World Cup so far. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that the most exciting thing that happened so far.
That's a very good, valid and very good and valid shout. To be honest, like because I didn't watch the Saudi Arabia game, so I couldn't like say exactly. But similarly for me, like the Japanese, the Japan against Germany was like it was the highlight of the tournament so far. To be honest, like it was one of those games like where you could feel what it meant to these Japanese players. You could see the hunger, the will, the intensity. Like even if these Germans are much more talented technically than they wouldn't be out fought for passion and for the width. So it was a really, really good game for me, and that was it. And I know, did you see the video that was going around on the internet about the Saudi Arabian guy who like literally lifted a door, or rather removed the door, for celebrating the second goal?
But he moved the what?
Remove the door in this house.
Oh, I didn't see it. I think I
I
didn't see
mean,
it.
that's different levels of celebration, to be honest. So like the guy was he was so ecstatic, to be honest. I mean, and you can understand these things, to be honest. Like it's Saudi Arabia and it's Argentina with Messi and all these things, and it's just something that is you know you play the game 100 times and Argentina wins 99 times. It's just that one time which is
Yeah,
abnormal. You get to witness that.
definitely. Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
that.
that would be it for today. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see each other, I think, next Thursday when we can recap all these games that happen next week. It's not confirmed that it will be on Thursday, but about that time. So so yeah, you never know with us when it's gonna be. But yeah, turn on the notifications, subscribe, like, comment, all that good